All right. So I'm gonna try to keep interacting with chat for sure, but a lot of it is gonna be just talking about the run, being informative kind of thing. So we're gonna be we're gonna get a little deep on this one. So this is the Lost Legends of Redwall, based off of the books by Brian Jakes. There's also a TV show that you may have seen or heard about that used to be on PBS. Well, Redwall is about woodland creatures living in a peaceful abbey of Redwall.
Ready? That's
This game in particular is about Liam and Sophia, the engaged couple, who are trying to join the Scout Corps. Depending on who you choose, one of them, the other, has already joined the Scout Corps. In this case, I chose Liam, just because it is the fastest entry for the cave, but they do not play differently at all, so the actual choice does not really matter.
for this next.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm going through the training cave to try to prove that I'm ready to be Lily Grove Scout. There's not a whole lot of super difficult tricks in the cave.
A perfect.
It is mainly just your conservation of speed and hitting certain angles and being able to react on the fly. The hardest part about this game, for speed-wise, is the stealth sections. There are sections when you run into actual enemies where it will absolutely ruin your speed. And
What? Welcome.
that was a pretty good cave. Holy crap.
Isn't that
Um,
down there?
sorry.
That's
Sorry, this is a really hard part to try to talk
Those-
through, because
that. Well,
it's a lot of like you're having to move to very specific parts. This whole section can be skipped. Right up to about this part, there is a skip, which is called cave skip. We don't talk about flag skip. The section before where it was like, oh, pick a flag. You can technically skip that long section of walking on the ledge or walking across the ledge by jumping across the flagpoles. It's incredibly difficult, and cave skip skips all of it. So I never really had to learn flag skip, because when the world record holder Idyllic Oblivion figured out cave skip, or figured out flag skip, he shortly after figured out cave skip, and I was extremely happy. One, because cave is just is very slow and it's very cool to skip it. Come on. Here we go. And two, I did not want to learn flag skip. It's so hard. I managed to get it a couple times, but I just zero consistency to it for me. So now we are getting into the real platform heavy part of the game. So this is a perfect example of a lot of the platforming tech that this game has to offer. Coyote jumping is a big one. You may have seen it a little bit in the cave, but here it comes into part a good bit. And it's all about like really making sure that you're very quick with your get your slingshot shots off so you can drop those planks. Hitting these, like, positioning to interact with the barrels of ingredients, which we're picking up for the soup, and stuff like that. It's incredibly important to get your positioning just right. So this is the treehouse is definitely the hardest part about Scout Camp, by far. All right, and that's Scout Camp. Not a bad time. Not my best, but I'm okay with that. And now we get on to pirates. So as you can see, if I don't jump, this is the part, like this is a stealth section. You move extremely slowly here. Let's go! Oh! I pulled it off in a run? That's very hard to do. Normally you gotta just kind of jump across the rocks there. I kind of want to go back and show you what it's supposed to look like, but I'm just stoked I pulled that off in a run. Let's go. That's really hard to do. I'm going to ruin it by ruining barrel skip. Okay, cool. So barrel skip utilizes a very important tool in the toolbox called air hopping. Discovered by the current world record holder, Idyllic Oblivion, air hopping allows us to jump up onto some things we generally shouldn't be allowed to, like this barrel, which allows us to get up on defenses and skip parts of the game. All right, we're just gonna go through and do this like normal. So you can walk along this fence line and just walk across here. If you fail that, that's so fine. We have a backup with bridge skip. You do not want to set a foot on the bridge because you will trigger these rats. You'll have to hide behind a barrel. It's extremely slow. By walking along the side, you're able to avoid that entirely. The rats never trigger, and although they technically would see you, they will not actually activate. So you can see in the bottom right, the sight and scent marker. Those rats will not actually spot you. So now we get to the RNG section of the game. Oh no, he saw me. Okay. Set me back. So, as you can see, the rats are a bit RNG. What you're supposed to do is you ring this bell. I did not lose my... I did not end up in stealth. That's crazy. I don't know why that happened. That was awesome. That'll just happen sometimes. The game will just decide, you don't need to be in stealth right now. Even though you usually do. So we ring that bell until all the rats come over and we can knock them out with the suspended barrels above. If you don't ring it every like second or so, they will lose interest and walk away and will spot you. Like every time. They just lock onto you. I don't know why. It's obnoxious. So by knocking them out, we're able to just run the rest of this way and go talk to the friar to end the level. Oh, this is
Friar Tom?
a lot of talking. But that is pirates.
Surveying the...
If time was so important.
So now we're getting on to Catacombs. Catacombs was an extremely annoying level for a long time, and now it's still not like the easiest level, but it's a lot more consistent. There's some really excellent skips that were discovered that save a lot of time. So it went from extremely annoying and stressful and reset heavy to kind of annoying and stressful and reset heavy. It's still very easy to lose a good Act 1 here if you're not careful, but it's a lot less consistent than it was. The biggest skip definitely comes in this section. So this rat is my least favorite. This guy sucks. He's super annoying to deal with. Okay, as soon as I hear circle stairs, I start jumping because I guarantee that I can jump through that door without being caught. What you're supposed to do there, by the way, is pick up a key. They forgot to lock the door.
And a wee touch of Byzantium. Very tasteful. Very elegant.
Okay. So now we're gonna ring the bell, sneak behind this guy, grab this key, jump up on here, ring this bell, get up on these boxes, We're gonna air hop onto these boxes, if it'll let us. Sometimes you gotta just give it a little something something. I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason to why that will sometimes work or not work, as far as I know. But here we are. So we are past the hardest part of the run, which is getting over those stupid boxes. Up here, there's a very small section where I'm going to lose sprint and I'm going to jump. Because sections like this are so slow. And they will eat up, and they eat up your movement and will just cut into time. And it's extremely annoying. With that little sprint section, we're able to jump farther than normal. And we're able to jump out partway over the ledge and save a lot of time there. By the way, even though you can't see the rat back there, if you don't dip yourself in flour, he will spot you. I don't know why. It's one of those quirks of the game where it's whether or not the rat can actually see you or not, doesn't matter. They will just happen to see you. So.
Aslium ascended from the ancient.
Not my best catacomb, not the worst. I'm fine with that.
I must stay out of sight.
And now we're on to the were rat. This is the most boring level of Act 1. It is just, like, tight platforming. This all is just about movement. Jumping while in stealth mode is definitely your fastest option of movement. And it's just knowing, like, waiting for the camera to readjust and kind of compensating for where the camera's aiming, so where you need to be. Listen, just because I'm not the man that invented air hopping does not mean that I don't have a PhD in air hopping, okay? I'm one of the foremost experts on air hopping. There only are 2 of us, but still. And now we get to the worst level in, I was going to say the Anthology, but that actually goes to the raft. But this is definitely the worst level in Act 1. We are running from Scumsnout the Were-Rat, who will either get stuck on something like this, and we'll have just pretty free passage for a lot of the level, or he'll be right behind us, we'll get caught slightly on something, and he will just catch us. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I've run this level, I cannot tell you how many times. I have been caught by Scumsnout in areas that are new every single time for 0 reason. It just is. Portman's Slough, thank you, Idyllic. That is the worst level in the Anthology because the raft exists. It is a 5-minute cutscene, and oh my lord. We were just talking before about how there needs to be a way to just skip it, but unfortunately, we have not figured it out yet. I only say yet because this game is so broken in some ways that I'm sure there's a way that we could make it work.
Every barrel and barrier like a juggernaut.
Alright, so first level of Lighthouse, or first half of Lighthouse, I should say, untouched is pretty good. Focusing on jumps. Jumps right here are extremely tight. If you jump too long or you mistime your jumps, you will fall. And it just is, it's a really sucky time save. Or time loss. So yeah, Lighthouse, unfortunately, there's not like an optimal path to it. You kind of gotta just play with the hand you're dealt. Sometimes it works out really well for you, and other times it just doesn't. In this last little bit, I like to stay on the far side of the platforms, because technically you can run along the far side for the last like third of the level. So if I just stay there and I jump across, even if I mistime my jumps, I'm technically still safe. But that's Act 1. And now we get on to Act 2, which is the best game in the Anthology. It's so broken. It's so much fun to speedrun. The best level in the game is in Act 2 for sure. And it really shows, as a game as a whole, I think casually even, it's way more fun than the first game, because the developers, I think, had some success with the first game, and, you know, learned a lot, and did a phenomenal job. Casually, it's super fun as well. Speedrun-wise, it's broken as hell, and it's so much fun. So Act 2 is where we get out of bounds, and we do it a lot. You may have noticed, by the way, when I jump down from something, or I exit an area where, like, the camera is different, it kind of does that, like, cinematic panning, similar to this, and I will flash my slingshot aim. What that does is it resets the camera, and it allows me to get much more consistent controls, because your controls are based off of your camera positioning. So now, we're out of bounds. And it's just something we do a lot. Oh, okay. That'll happen sometimes. There is a, I don't know if I mentioned it before. There's a void out timer in this game. If you spend more than 2 seconds without being on solid ground, you will void out. So this is definitely the part where it's the sketchiest. It's usually pretty consistent about how it's handled. Or it's usually pretty consistent, but it can get dicey at times. Come on. There we go. Come on. Trying so hard to hit this thing to knock these rats down. So because we're out of bounds, we need to get ourselves back in bounds now. There we go. So this is a forced cutscene, and it's going to drag us back in bounds.
Why?
So we don't have to try to find our way back in through another seam in the level, which we could do theoretically, but this is very consistent.
Ready for this? Ready. Before you go,
And it's just much easier. So while we do this bit of conversation with our partner, you can see by her reaction to certain things, it's going to have a it's going to have a different effect on our partner Sophia. So I lost all of the time to talk about the thing I wanted to by trying to explain how relationship conversations work. So we are now in Act 2, and this is the Battle for Lilygrove, which is the most broken level in the game, I think. We're able to bypass almost all of it by going out of bounds. Oh, it forced me out. I don't do that.
Sure that's what happened?
just kidding.
Bummer, but not the end of the world. So, Idyllic brings up a good point to talk about the different games. So this is the Anthology. These games were originally three separate releases. It was the Lost Legends of Redwall, the Scouts, Acts 1, 2, and 3. We're out of bounds, by the way. We're skipping 90% of the level. But they were released in... So, Act 1 was the first game released, obviously, then Act 2, then Act 3. And they all play fairly differently. The actual, gameplay itself in a casual playthrough is not that different. But you can see where the developers were trying different things and had different ideas for how they wanted the game to play, especially in the speedrun. Act 1 is just kind of play the game casually as fast as you can. Act 2 is stay out of bounds as much as possible. And Act 3 is avoid cutscenes with everything you have. Act 3 is so full of cutscenes that are unskippable and so frustrating to deal with. And a lot of the game is just how do I avoid dealing with any of this. So now we are going to get back. So now we're at the point where we need to get back inbounds. I can. Getting back inbounds can be a bit tricky here. Let me see. Gotta go here. Come on. Damn. There we go. Okay. So there's a fast exit here. You can keep running underneath. I'll kind of show you where we pop out. It is not fully consistent, for me at least. The world record holder swears that he is like very consistent because you pop out of the ground around here and you sprint across this bridge.
I found a shoe.
Oh, what?
A shoe.
Why would I care about a shoe? Find something we can use.
But it's not super consistent, so I do that save away. By the way, Idyllic is correct. This is Old Moss Creek. This is the most broken level in the game, not Battle for Lily Grove. Okay. And now it's time for the captain. The captain is the quintessential relationship conversation level. It is extremely stressful for how, like, simple of a level it is. Because it's extremely easy to make the wrong choice in the conversations. And there are 3 different conversations you have with Captain Snow, who you'll see in a second. And your relationship, like, meter keeps throughout all of them. It doesn't reset. So you have to be very careful about your choices every time. So this is Captain Snow. He's a jerk. I goofed one of them, so I have to be very careful on the other 2. This will happen when you're going too fast. As you're going, you'll learn... This level's just rolling for charisma, exactly. As you're going, you'll learn a bit more about what the actual conversation prompts you're looking for are, but it's very easy to get mixed up. Okay. One more after this. So, part of this also is we are using our telescope to mark out some rats so we can tell him where to get them. Because apparently he's incapable of seeing the rats himself, even though he's an apex predator. We got very lucky, did not have to scroll around for those. If you do it correctly, you go into the last conversation with 3 full hearts, because you can either lose a half heart or a full heart if with the wrong conversation.
There.
If you do it correctly, you go into the last level, you pick the one option that will not reduce hearts for you, and you can just mash through the rest. Okay, saved a little time on Captain. Yeah, and so apparently you have to give him coordinates because that's just how it works. Not sure why. It's because he's not actually blind. Like, unless it's different from the books, but he wasn't blind in the books. This does, for anyone that knows Redwall also, this game takes place right before Redwall itself, when Clooney is getting ready to attack. These rats are part of Clooney's band. So, now we get to see one of my favorite things in the game, which is that barrels aren't real. They're just propaganda from the rats. And we get to meet Best Boy. Ooh.
I'm an... I could try.
What? Why did that not work? What? Okay. Not sure why that happened.
Goodness.
But,
You can. I'm a.
usually with Glimber,
We.
you just gotta...
I could.
You do need to, like... You want to pick the correct prompts. But you're able to, like, the last one doesn't matter, like the others. I'm not sure why that happened. I'm not sure why I failed the first time, but that's fine. This is Silver Sands. This is the best level in the game. Because there's so much tech to it, and it's so much fun. And it went from being an extremely long level that was super boring to being very technical and very difficult and very fun. And the last part of the level, which is the most annoying because there's a long, unskippable cutscene at the end, we decided as a community, we're just going to skip it. Because there's literally nothing to do after that cutscene. So,
Back in my day, we had
we just skip it.
There you two are.
Alright, and now we wait for Glimber. So we're going to go up here.
I smell.
We're going to switch the sign. Do not forget to switch the sign. It's very easy to, and it will, it'll ruin your day. So we're just going to wait for Glimber to get in the cart now. Oh, water feels good. Remember to stay hydrated, kids. So now we get to see the jankiest cart of all time, because Glimber's in the cart. I'm interacting with the cart. I don't know why that happens. But it does. And now by mashing E, we can interact with that as soon as it goes off. We do that again. And now we get to skip the minecart. So what you're supposed to do is jump in this minecart with Glimber. And ride it for a minute and a half. And just, you know, pretend you're on a roller coaster so you don't die of boredom. But what we do now is we go out of bounds and we break this level. So by going out of bounds here and just running around, we found out we can skip the entirety of the minecart section. Again, it's about a minute and a half of just riding on a minecart with Glimber, with Liam and Glimber screaming. You know, comes out there and all this stuff. But instead, we can just run over here and ignore it. So what we used to do was come down here, leave over here, and just be like, alright, cool, we figured it out, like, we're done. Like, we've skipped the minecart. But it turns out that we can skip some mildly difficult platforming sections, especially when trying to go fast, by running up here. And this is also part of the reason for the neon jacket. As you can see, it gets very dark. And if you mess up this skip the first time, it becomes nighttime for no discernible reason. And it's very hard to see Liam. So, yeah. Oh, I missed it. Okay. You can hit that midair, which is really fun. But now we are in the scent puzzle section. These levers all trigger a cutscene and are annoying and slow. So, this is all about stacking cutscenes. By hitting one lever with a slingshot and then pulling on another, you're able to stack the cutscenes up on themselves, which is huge. This one, for some reason, always gets me. Okay, cool. I have lined that up perfectly, and then I'll, like, fall down, and it won't be lined up anymore. It drives me crazy. But anyway, this is the cutscene we can skip. As soon as you see Cheese Thief, which is the big rat in the red coat, you can go to menu and just load pantry. It saves a lot of time. It saves about a minute. Make sure you're on the same character. Load a pantry.
Baby, you genius!
And now, we skip the pantry. Because the pantry is the long section where you have to guide everyone through, and then you have to deal with the rats that bust in, and it's just annoying and frustrating and boring, and instead, we are going to jump up on here, line up with this box. We're gonna air hop. We're gonna jump up here. Thank you, Idyllic Oblivion, for finding this. This is the best. So normally, we have gotten a lot of obstacles out of the way. The rats have busted in, and we have knocked out a lot of them by this section. Instead, we just knock out an invisible cheese thief with this giant barrel before the rats even bust in.
Everyone, what? You still alive?
Then the rats get really mad at us,
Pixies are getting away.
even though they're not here. And we go to Pontidaria. So Pontidaria, if you don't know, is has the another Scum Snout running section, and it's boring and it's annoying as most chase scenes are. So we do something a little bit different. If I can pull this off, please. Okay, cool. We just run it without triggering the cutscene. If you look carefully, Scum Snout's back there. Hi, buddy. It's really funny. So I'm really glad I was able to pull that off clean. I will either Idyllic Oblivion or myself will have to do a full video on Pontidaria skip, because it is such a time save and it's so much more fun. It's so much cooler. And then you just jump down to this section. Scum Snout's like, hey, I'm coming for a ride. And for some reason, we are strong enough to pull ourselves, this cart, and Scum Snout up here. I'm not sure how, but who cares, right? It's this is 100% going to be a gold split Pontidaria. That was so fast for me. Pontidaria Escape is still tricky. It's doable, and it doesn't. You do not lose a lot of time if you don't get it the first few tries, and you save so much time over doing the Scum Snout chase normally. That it's always worth going for. But yeah. All right, and now we are on to Act 3. This is definitely the game where they decided, you know what's really fun? Unskippable cutscenes. And you know what? For a casual playthrough, it does set up a lot of really good backstory for the game and everything. So I get it. For speedrunning, obviously, it's very slow. We know this game. We know a lot about this game. We know all about the story. We do not need these cutscenes, but here we are. So we're going to be grabbing the ingredients we need for our for a good friend of the Stoat, whose name I have literally forgotten. Is it Volo? I think it's Volo and Bolo. And Mia.
Thank you, Scout.
Valo, okay. Okay. So now we're gonna go talk to Mila about dinner. If you're playing on mouse and keyboard, by the way, the backspace key allows you to skip dialogue. It's not always helpful. In some cases, like talking to Mia, if you backspace, it just closes out of the conversation like that.
No,
I was hoping we might chat.
of course.
So you have to click through it. And then you can kind of just rock your fingers between backspace and enter to skip through conversations like that.
What are you doing, rat? And explain, if you would, why you bother destroying my property when a friendly knock would have sufficed.
And now we get an unskippable cutscene. This is a great time to get some water, take a super quick break, maybe go grab a snack. If my cats are around, I'll usually try to grab them and show their beats to the camera, you know. Make them earn their keep around here kind of thing with feed things.
Pathetic mice. They came this way, of course, but I scared them off.
But yeah, Act 3 is... Act 3 has become a lot more fun. We found out a lot of things about it, but it definitely is the slowest game to speedrun, just like pacing-wise. There's some really cool tricks, and they're kind of overshadowed by the amount of cutscenes you need to just sit through and wait. Idyllic has just informed me before, and I'm just seeing it now, that apparently with Glimber, if you end with 1.5 hearts in his conversation, the one I failed before, it is considered failing at 1.5 hearts, not 0 hearts, like everyone else. I don't know why. I don't know why you have 1.5, why you have 3 hearts if you fail at 1.5, because that's stupid, but okay. This is just me ranting because there's a lot of unskippable cutscenes. And now we actually have to play the game. Cool. So this section up here, if we go to the right over here, we will trigger a small side quest kind of thing where we have to rescue one of our other friends. But instead, by jumping very carefully, this is a really tricky jump. It's going to take you a couple tries, as you can see. I sometimes will get it first try. Because you need to do double air hop onto a very small ledge while you're listening to these rats talk about their legs and their stomachs and everything. On repeat. But remember, barrels aren't real, so you just shoot through them to hit the bell. Knock out these rats, and go rescue Sophia to end the level.
What do you mean they're not here? They can't be far. Oh, that scout's gonna pay. I swear it.
Alright. So now we get to Portsmouth Slow, which is... Slow is correct. I never thought about that. That's really funny. Portsmouth Slow is the... this definitely takes the cake for the worst level in the game. There's a lot of stopping and starting, a lot of cutscenes. It ends with an extremely long cutscene. It's a bit of a snooze fest. And the worst part is, unlike the one before where we skipped the end cutscene of Silver Sands, because as soon as we saw Cheese Thief, with this one, there's a... you are actually forced to interact with the cutscene, basically, by making a choice every minute or so. There's 5 choices. So we can't just skip it, which is a bummer, but, you know, we'll figure it out. So this, instead of being forced into a relationship conversation with Mila, we're able to jump up the side, ignore that completely, saves a lot of time. Especially because, for me, I always goof up Mila's conversation. I don't know why. I don't know what it is that I'm just so bad at choosing the correct option for her, but I just am. And now we get to the raft. This is where it pays to, you know, be a fast napper. The basic premise is we are trying to escape Asmodeus the Adder, the giant snake. And we are being guided by the spirit of Redwall Abbey, Martin the Warrior. If you know Redwall, you know Martin extremely well. If you don't, basically he is one of the founders of the Abbey that will show himself, kind of thing, or influence or visit the dreams of warriors related to Redwall and Mossflower Woods, where Redwall Abbey is located. And he's guiding us through the swamp. We are going to have to choose left or right 5 times. The pattern is left, 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 right, left. Thankfully, we're able to mash through most of this. But as you can see, it's extremely... It is really cinematic, especially the first time you play it. It's very cool. It's very creepy. It does an extremely good job. Speedrunning it, as you can guess, you do kind of just... you know? You kind of just have to, like... You take quick cat naps for each one. And it definitely behooves you to learn to, like, rock your fingers over the enter and backspace buttons, because it really helps. Just, you know, apologize to your keyboard, because some of your buttons are going to get absolutely destroyed doing this. But c'est la vie. That's speedrunning. I wish I had more to say in this section. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I really do not. Are we on? Yeah, we are. Okay. So now we're going right. Oh. By the way, I don't know if you're still here, but cleaning up some of those other sections that I really... Yeah, thank you. But cleaning up some of those sections that I kind of biffed last time, my sum of best is starting to get pretty low. So, and a lot of those were not, like, the cleanest, so... You know, we've definitely got a lot of time to save. We do need to time out this last bit, because theoretically we could just skip the last raft section, or like after this we could just skip. Although technically we do need to be like, oh, Uncle Jeb, like it's one interaction to skip that. I think we can agree that it's not worth doing this for. It might be worth timing out. But we'll see. Yeah, I was like on the raft and I saw that I was at like 40 seconds with like 3 minutes ago. I was like, dude, am I about to save like 2 minutes on this? And of course I'm not. It's Portman slow. Alright. Got my yawn out. And then we get to go to Crackbug Gully, another truly riveting level that isn't just a giant long cutscene. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm thinking of Fool of a Stoat. My bad, I'm a level ahead. Okay. Nice! Saved a lot of time there. I'm back positive, baby. Okay, this is... Are you ready to head off? This is the meanest dialogue box, because normally the option on the left, the one that you automatically select, is yes. In this one, they made it that yes is on the right side, so you can't just mash through it like you can with others. Which is dumb and annoying, and I hate it. Alright, so now we're on to Puzzle Skip. This is a really precise trick that has just recently gotten a consistency to it, despite my despite my best efforts, apparently. I am still very bad at it. There's not a whole lot of space to move around here, unfortunately, but you make do. There's a small little rock, like right below the bottom of my cursor. If you kind of hover over that, and then coyote jump, you can land on this. You can land on this, You gotta jump up along the right side of the rock face, but you can skip the first puzzle and a lot of walking around, and it saves a lot of time. That is 100% the cleanest I've ever done that, and I'm very excited about it. But now you get to see why we have puzzle skip. Because, oh boy, are puzzles slow. Especially the first and second ones. The third one's decently fast, actually, which is nice. I just discovered something. It turns out that by aiming with your slingshot during these cutscenes, you can hijack the camera. That's incredibly useful. Because before you would just have to kind of hope. No, don't do this to me.
Sure that's what happened?
I forgot that there was that wall there. I was like, wait, why don't I just do this? That's why. I did that on purpose. You're welcome. This is a learning moment. But yeah, this is a learning moment for both of us about the camera because, holy crap, that's incredible. So now you no longer need to blindly make it.
Are you
That was
sure that's
that
what
was
happened?
that was my fault. That was just poor movement on my part. But yeah, so now instead of the camera being hijacked by the puzzles, we can that's what you're supposed to do, by the way. Just run across that little pointed bit. Can't do anything about this, I guess. Oh, and Idyllic knew about that apparently and just didn't tell me. That's cool. Just hiding things from me. He's gotta protect his record, you know? But that was a really good crap. Holy crap. Alright, now we get on to Fool of a Stoat, which is another just riveting level. This is kind of why Act 3 is definitely the least fun to run, in my opinion. It's just a lot of... Whoa, I goofed that. It's a lot of just cutscenes and a bit of jank and just like meh. And it's not even like fun jank. Like there's a lot of fun jank in speedrunning that is taken advantage of. You can camera hijack at the first Gumstone section. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, let's see if that happens if I just okay. Don't touch anything during this section because it will make you jump. It will lock you up there, and it's really annoying. So now we play the game where will Valo get captured, or will there be the one in like 8,000 something, similar to Shiny Luck in Pokemon? There is like an 8,000 something chance that Valo doesn't actually get captured here. And it saves a lot of time. The hijack sends you? Oh, dude, I gotta see this. Sorry, Idyllic is telling me about a bug that happens in the final level of the game, which is in the Otter's Den, which is really cool. So I'm very curious. Dude, my summer best is getting very close to 50 minutes. And that's exciting and terrifying. Holy crap.
I know enough. Yes, this is all very touching.
Excuse me.
But do let me interrupt. Tell me, healer, where did your little mousy guests get off
What do
to?
you care?
They have something I want.
Okay. And now we puzzle.
Don't forget our deal, Cheese. I haven't forgotten. You want a place on our crew. Prove your mettle on the vermin there. Then prove it now.
Okay. So we now move this statue. I don't know how we're supposed to know this, by the way. I don't know how we're supposed to know which ones to hit. Like, I truly don't. I just remember looking up. I think I just, like, jumped around on them when I first played the game casually. And then I just looked up a speedrun of it to figure out the fastest way to do it. All right, and now we get to have a conversation with Cheese Thief.
Just like my beasts. Ain't no one coming to free you now.
Okay. La 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 la.
So, what do you say? Work for me, and I might even let you be second mate. If you're good a healer as they say, Chief will reward you well.
Never.
You're the biggest fool of a stoat. Let's go.
He said the line. That was the name of the level. All right, now we're on to the Outer Zen, which is the last level in the game. You know what? I bet, though, because we killed Scum Snout, I bet we won't see him, huh? I bet it's definitely not a Scum Snout level. Definitely not. Definitely not. Oh my gosh. What? Oh, Scum Snout.
Just because I can't see you doesn't mean I can smell you.
Alright. So the nice thing is about this, so this is going to be like a stealth into chase section twice, which is fun. Definitely fun. If you stick to the right in both stealth sections, it's very easy to get around him safely. Otherwise, it's incredibly RNG and it's really frustrating. Also, it does not matter how fast you tap your E button there, you just want to have a pretty decently fast rhythm. I used to sit here and like really fast mash it. So this is the final level. It combines falling rocks,
Are you sure that's what happened?
which will sometimes hit you and sometimes not. And I mean that truly literally, like, I don't feel like I did anything different that time, but, you know, here we are. It feels random, but what are you gonna do? Let's see if I can pull off the jump here. I didn't get the jump. Okay, there is a way. There's a very small window where you can actually jump here, like you want to do in other sections where there's that, like, where you're trying to, like, shimmy through a tight space or anything like that. And it can actually save you about a second because you don't have to stop for that one rock there. Like I did. It's extremely hard to do, and I am by no means consistent at it, but I go for it every time because it literally costs you nothing. So again, here we want to go to the right. We're going to go around here, because if you try to cut it a little bit closer, he will most likely grab you. And you can just jump over these bushes. We'll go around this rock, and we'll jump to the end. So the nice thing is Scum Snout can't see you, as he says, all the time. Multiple times, as if you didn't hear him the first time. I'm not sure why. It's fine. So we just need to be careful of like the wind going through the cavern. If you run fast enough here, you will never get hit by any of the rocks, so you literally do not need to worry about them, which is nice. But you do have to kind of play by ear. You may have to stop for a rock here or there. It's just something to be aware of.
You're mine now! You're a fool to think you could escape, scum!
Okay. And this time he's definitely dead. You have taken a life. And everyone else is horrified by you now. Good job. Okay, match through the dialogue. Match through the people. Okay. Now you've finished this and you gotta get through Cavern's Hole. So what you want to do is you want to just run up the steps, just straight past everybody. You're ready to leave, and that's time. That is a PB for me by a good bit. Let's go, sub 56. I'm very happy with that. But that's the Lost Illusions of Redwall. I hope you enjoyed. It is this was the full any percent anthology run. There are also Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 solo any percent runs. All of them located on the speedrunning Discord, speedrun.com page for the anthology. I am one of the moderators. Idyllic Oblivion, the world record holder, is the other. It's a very small community right now. We're constantly trying to get people to join, so if you're all interested in this, please come check it out. Ask us questions. Yeah, that's it for me.